Chapter 1. The novel opens with June Hayward recounting the night she witnessed Athena Liu's death. They are celebrating Athena's new TV deal with Netflix at an overpriced rooftop bar in Georgetown. June describes Athena as having everything: a successful writing career, prestigious awards, and a glamorous life. Despite this, Athena lacks close friends, and June theorizes that her aloofness and immense success make her difficult to befriend. Athena's achievements often leave June feeling inadequate and envious, leading to a complex and strained friendship. Their friendship began in their freshman year at Yale, where they bonded over a shared ambition to become writers. However, their careers diverged dramatically after graduation. While Athena quickly rose to stardom with her debut novel, June struggled with her own writing, facing numerous rejections and limited success. This disparity fosters a deep-seated jealousy in June, who feels overshadowed by Athena's brilliance and effortless charm. Despite this, they continue to socialize, primarily because of convenience and a lack of other close connections. The night at the rooftop bar becomes pivotal when they return to Athena's luxurious apartment, where she reveals her latest manuscript. Athena, heavily intoxicated, accidentally chokes on a pancake and dies despite June's frantic attempts to save her. June is left in shock and disbelief, unable to process the suddenness of Athena's death. As the emergency responders arrive, June grapples with the surreal and traumatic experience of watching her friend die. In the aftermath, June finds herself alone in Athena's apartment, overwhelmed by the sight of Athena's unfinished manuscript. Driven by a mix of curiosity, jealousy, and the desire to succeed, June decides to read the manuscript. She is struck by its brilliance, recognizing that it could be a literary masterpiece. The temptation to claim the manuscript as her own begins to form, ignited by the idea that Athena's untimely death could provide her with an unexpected opportunity. June rationalizes her actions by convincing herself that Athena's work deserves to be published and that she is merely completing it. She takes the manuscript home, starting the process of editing and refining it. This decision marks a turning point in June's life, setting the stage for the ethical and moral dilemmas she will face as she navigates the consequences of her actions. The chapter ends with June's internal conflict, torn between guilt and ambition. Chapter 2. The days following Athena's death are surreal for June, who finds herself grappling with a mix of emotions. Mourning Athena is complicated. They were not particularly close friends, and June doesn't feel a deep personal loss. Instead, she experiences a sense of awe and shock at having witnessed Athena's death. Her thoughts are dominated by the traumatic memory of Athena choking and her own helplessness in the situation. Despite the lack of deep grief, June is haunted by the vivid recollections of Athena's final moments. As news of Athena's death spreads, June is bombarded with messages from friends and acquaintances, all expressing their condolences and curiosity. Many are eager to hear the details, but June withdraws, overwhelmed by the attention. On her sister Rory's advice, she attends a support group and makes an appointment with a therapist specializing in grief. However, these efforts only make her feel worse, as they assume a closer relationship with Athena than what existed. June finds solace in isolation, turning to drinking and comfort eating to cope. Despite the chaos, June begins reading Athena's manuscript in earnest. She is struck by its brilliance and the extensive research that went into it. The novel, titled The Last Front, explores the experiences of the Chinese Labor Corps during World War I, a topic rarely covered in literature. June is captivated by Athena's writing, recognizing the potential for it to be a significant literary work. The manuscript is raw and unfinished, but its quality is undeniable, fueling June's desire to complete it. June's initial guilt over her plan to claim the manuscript as her own begins to wane as she becomes more engrossed in the project. She convinces herself that she is honoring Athena's memory by ensuring the work sees the light of day. The task of editing and completing the manuscript consumes her, providing a sense of purpose and distraction from the trauma she witnessed. June works tirelessly, determined to perfect the novel and make it her own. Her efforts pay off as she transforms the raw manuscript into a polished work. June contacts her literary agent Brett and sends him the completed manuscript, presenting it as her own. Brett is impressed and quickly sets about submitting it to publishers. The chapter ends with June feeling a mix of anticipation and anxiety as she waits for the responses, fully aware of the ethical boundaries she has crossed, but driven by the hope of finally achieving the literary success she has longed for. Chapter 3. June's anticipation turns to excitement when Brett informs her that multiple publishers are interested in her manuscript. The manuscript goes to auction, and June experiences the thrill of watching the bids rise. For the first time, she feels the rush of success that Athena often described, a stark contrast to her previous struggles. The experience is intoxicating, and June basks in the attention and validation she receives. She feels as though she is living Athena's life, finally breaking through the barriers that held her back. Amidst the excitement, June is acutely aware of the moral implications of her actions. She justifies her decision by convincing herself that she has significantly contributed to the manuscript, making it her own. She acknowledges the ethical gray area, but rationalizes that the end result is a collaborative effort between her and Athena. The excitement of potential fame and success overshadows her guilt, and she eagerly anticipates the opportunities that lie ahead. As June's manuscript gains momentum, she faces practical challenges in presenting herself as the sole author. She works diligently to ensure that her version of the story is seamless and authentic. The editing process is intense, requiring her to immerse herself in Athena's style and voice. June becomes increasingly confident in her ability to enhance the manuscript, believing that her contributions elevate the work to new heights. The fear of being discovered lingers, but the allure of success drives her forward. With the manuscript ready for publication, June prepares for her new life as a successful author. She quits her part-time job, anticipating the financial stability and recognition that will come with her debut novel. June's friends and family are impressed by her sudden success, unaware of the true nature of her achievement. She relishes the praise and attention, feeling validated in her decision to take the manuscript. The sense of accomplishment and acceptance is a stark contrast to the years of rejection and frustration she endured. The chapter concludes with June reflecting on the transformation in her life. She has finally achieved the success she envied in Athena, but the cost of her actions remains a constant undercurrent. June is determined to embrace her new identity and the opportunities it brings, despite the lingering ethical concerns. The anticipation of the book's release and the potential for further success propel her forward, setting the stage for the challenges and conflicts that lie ahead. Chapter 4. As June navigates the complexities of her newfound success, she delves deeper into the editing process for the last front. Her editor at Eden Press, Daniela Woodhouse, provides detailed feedback and suggestions for improvement. Daniela is a no-nonsense professional who commands respect, and her editorial style is both thorough and supportive. June appreciates the attention to detail and the collaborative nature of their work, finding the experience both challenging and rewarding. The editing process reveals the intricacies of Athena's original manuscript and the depth of her research. Daniela's suggestions help streamline the narrative and clarify complex historical details, making the story more accessible to readers. June works tirelessly to incorporate these changes, striving to maintain the authenticity of Athena's voice while enhancing the overall readability of the novel. The process is grueling but invigorating, and June becomes increasingly confident in her role as the author. Throughout this period, June grapples with the ethical implications of her actions. She continues to justify her decision by focusing on the quality of the final product and the importance of sharing the story with the world. June convinces herself that she is honoring Athena's legacy by bringing the manuscript to life. However, moments of doubt and guilt persist, especially when she encounters aspects of Athena's writing that highlight her unique perspective and talent. June's interactions with Daniela and other publishing professionals further reinforce her determination to succeed. She navigates interviews, promotional events, and social media with a newfound confidence, embracing her role as a rising literary star. The support and enthusiasm from the publishing community bolster her resolve, and she becomes increasingly adept at managing her public persona. The excitement of impending publication and the positive reception of her work fuel her ambition. As the publication date approaches, June reflects on the journey that brought her to this point. She acknowledges the complexities and moral ambiguities of her actions, but remains focused on the future. The anticipation of the book's release and the potential for critical acclaim and financial success dominate her thoughts. June is determined to make the most of this opportunity, fully aware of the risks and rewards that lie ahead. The chapter ends with a sense of anticipation and unresolved tension as June prepares for the next phase of her journey. Chapter 5. As the publication date for the last front draws near, June is consumed with anxiety and excitement. The pre-release buzz is substantial, with glowing reviews from early readers and interest from major literary publications. June's social media following grows rapidly, and she receives numerous messages of support and admiration. The attention is both exhilarating and overwhelming, and she struggles to maintain a balance between her public persona and private life. The anticipation of seeing her book on shelves and in readers' hands is a dream come true. June's relationship with her family becomes more strained as the pressure mounts. Her mother and sister are supportive but concerned about the changes they see in her. June becomes increasingly secretive and defensive, unwilling to share the full extent of her inner turmoil. Her interactions with friends also become more superficial, as she fears being exposed or judged for her actions. The isolation weighs heavily on her, but she remains focused on the success of her book. During this time, June reflects on her journey and the choices she has made. She grapples with the ethical and moral implications of her actions, questioning whether the ends justify the means. The pressure to maintain her facade and protect her newfound success intensifies. Despite the internal conflict, June convinces herself that she is doing the right thing by honoring Athena's work and ensuring it reaches a wide audience. The fear of being discovered and losing everything she has worked for looms large. The book launch is a resounding success, with a packed event and enthusiastic reception from readers and critics alike. June revels in the praise and admiration, feeling a sense of validation and accomplishment. The positive feedback reinforces her belief that she has made the right decision. However, the weight of her deception continues to haunt her, and she finds it increasingly difficult to reconcile her public success with her private guilt. The duality of her situation creates a constant undercurrent of tension. As the last front climbs the bestseller lists and garners critical acclaim, June's life changes dramatically. She receives invitations to literary festivals, interviews, and speaking engagements, but financial rewards and recognition are beyond her wildest dreams. Despite the external success, June's internal struggle remains unresolved. She is constantly reminded of the ethical boundaries she has crossed and the potential consequences of her actions. The chapter ends with June standing on the precipice of her new life, uncertain of what the future holds and whether she can continue to live with her choices. Chapter 6. June's rising fame brings new challenges and opportunities. As the last front gains traction, she is invited to various high-profile literary events and festivals. These opportunities provide her with a platform to discuss her work and share her creative process. Despite her initial nerves, June becomes adept at navigating these public appearances, presenting herself as a confident and articulate author. The praise and recognition bolster her confidence, but the fear of being exposed remains a constant undercurrent. During these events, June encounters other successful authors and industry professionals. She is both inspired and intimidated by their achievements and knowledge. The interactions force her to confront her own insecurities and the imposter syndrome that plagues her. June's envy of Athena resurfaces as she compares herself to these literary giants. Despite the external validation, she struggles with feelings of inadequacy and the fear that she does not truly belong in these circles. June's relationship with her literary agent, Brett, becomes more complex as her career progresses. Brett is thrilled with her success and continues to provide guidance and support. However, June becomes increasingly paranoid about the possibility of him discovering the truth about the manuscript. She goes to great lengths to maintain her deception, carefully crafting her responses and avoiding any mention of Athena. The stress of maintaining the facade takes a toll on her mental health, leading to bouts of anxiety and sleepless nights. The pressure to produce a follow-up novel intensifies as the last front continues to perform well. June feels the weight of expectation from her readers, her publisher, and herself. The process of writing a new book is daunting, especially given the shadow of her previous deception. She struggles to find inspiration and worries that her next work will not live up to the success of her debut. The fear of being a one-hit wonder and the need to prove herself as a legitimate author drive her to the brink of exhaustion. As June navigates the complexities of her newfound fame, she begins to question the sacrifices she has made. The relentless pursuit of success and the constant fear of exposure strain her personal relationships and take a toll on her well-being. Despite the external trappings of success, June feels increasingly isolated and disconnected. The chapter ends with her reflecting on the cost of her actions and the uncertainty of her future, setting the stage for the challenges and conflicts that lie ahead. Chapter 7. The pressure of maintaining her public persona and producing a second novel begins to weigh heavily on June. Despite her success, she struggles with writer's block and a lack of inspiration. The fear of not living up to the expectations set by the last front creates a constant sense of anxiety. June becomes increasingly reclusive, isolating herself from friends and family as she tries to focus on her writing. The solitude only amplifies her feelings of guilt and self-doubt, making it difficult to move forward. June's editor, Daniela, reaches out with encouragement and support, offering guidance and feedback on her progress. Daniela's belief in June's talent is both a comfort and a source of pressure. June feels the weight of Daniela's expectations and the need to prove herself. She becomes obsessed with perfecting her work, spending long hours revising and rewriting. Despite her efforts, she is unable to recapture the magic of her first novel, and her frustration mounts. In an attempt to find inspiration, June revisits her old notes and drafts, hoping to spark new ideas. She delves into her memories of Athena, drawing on their shared experiences and conversations. The process is both painful and cathartic, forcing her to confront the reality of her actions. June grapples with the moral implications of her deception and the impact it has had on her creativity. The connection between her guilt and her writer's block becomes increasingly clear, and she begins to question whether she can ever truly succeed without confronting the truth. As the deadline for her second novel approaches, June becomes desperate. She considers various strategies to break through her creative block, including seeking out new experiences and immersing herself in different cultures. The effort to find inspiration becomes a consuming obsession, leading her to take risks and push herself beyond her limits. Despite her best efforts, the fear of failure and the shadow of her past continue to haunt her, creating a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt. The chapter ends with June facing a critical juncture in her career. She must decide whether to continue hiding behind her facade or confront the truth and risk everything she has achieved. The weight of her deception and the pressure to succeed create a sense of impending crisis. June's internal conflict reaches a breaking point, setting the stage for a dramatic resolution. The chapter closes with a sense of anticipation and uncertainty as June grapples with the choices that will define her future. Chapter 8. June's struggle with writer's block intensifies as she attempts to write her second novel. Despite her best efforts, she finds herself unable to produce anything that matches the quality of the last front. The pressure from her publisher and the expectations of her readers weigh heavily on her, exacerbating her anxiety. June becomes increasingly isolated, withdrawing from social interactions and spending long hours alone in her apartment, trying to force the words onto the page. In a desperate attempt to find inspiration, June decides to revisit the places that had once inspired her in Athena. She retraces their steps, hoping to recapture the creative energy they once shared. This journey takes her to various locations, including the coffee shops and libraries where they used to write together. Despite her efforts, June is unable to shake the feeling of inadequacy and the nagging guilt over her deception. The memories of Athena and the manuscripts she stole continue to haunt her. During one of her visits to a favorite writing spot, June encounters an old acquaintance from her college days. This person, a fellow writer, expresses admiration for June's success and inquires about her next project. The conversation is a stark reminder of the precariousness of her situation. June's anxiety about being discovered resurfaces, and she becomes increasingly paranoid about the possibility of someone uncovering the truth. The encounter leaves her feeling more isolated and desperate than ever. June's editor, Daniela, notices her struggle and suggests taking a break to clear her mind. Daniela proposes a retreat to a quiet, secluded location where June can focus on her writing without distractions. June reluctantly agrees, hoping that the change of scenery will help her overcome her writer's block. She retreats to a cabin in the mountains, surrounded by nature and free from the pressures of her daily life. The solitude provides a temporary respite, but the weight of her guilt remains ever present. The chapter concludes with June, at the retreat, wrestling with her thoughts and trying to find a way forward. She spends her days hiking and reflecting on her journey, searching for the spark that will reignite her creativity. Despite the peaceful surroundings, the internal conflict continues to plague her. June is faced with a choice: confront the truth about her actions, or continue living with the burden of her deception. The chapter ends with a sense of anticipation, as June prepares to make a decision that will shape her future. Chapter 9. At the retreat, June slowly begins to unwind and connect with nature. The tranquility of the mountains and the absence of distractions allow her to clear her mind and reflect on her life. She spends her days hiking, meditating, and writing in her journal, attempting to process her thoughts and emotions. The natural beauty and isolation provide a much-needed escape from the pressures of her career and the constant reminder of her deception. As the days pass, June finds herself thinking more deeply about her relationship with Athena. She recalls the moments of genuine connection they shared and the ways in which Athena influenced her writing. These reflections bring a sense of clarity and understanding as June begins to acknowledge the depth of her feelings for Athena. She realizes that her envy and resentment were fueled by her own insecurities and fear of failure. This newfound insight helps her come to terms with the complexity of their friendship. Inspired by her reflections, June decides to write a letter to Athena. In the letter, she expresses her gratitude for Athena's friendship and the impact it had on her life. She also confesses her guilt over taking the manuscript and acknowledges the wrong she has done. Writing the letter is a cathartic experience, allowing June to release the emotions she has been suppressing. Although she knows Athena will never read it, the act of writing the letter helps June find a sense of closure and forgiveness. With a clearer mind and a lighter heart, June begins to write again. She starts a new project, drawing on her experiences at the retreat and her reflections on her friendship with Athena. The words flow more easily, and June feels a renewed sense of purpose and creativity. The process of writing becomes therapeutic, helping her to heal and move forward. The isolation of the retreat provides the perfect environment for her to rediscover her passion for storytelling. The chapter ends with June feeling more hopeful and confident than she has in a long time. She is still grappling with the consequences of her actions, but she is determined to make amends and create something meaningful. The retreat has given her the space to confront her fears and find a way forward. As she prepares to return to her life in the city, June is ready to face the challenges that lie ahead and continue her journey as a writer. The chapter closes with a sense of renewal and possibility. Chapter 10. Returning from the retreat, June feels reinvigorated and ready to tackle her writing with a fresh perspective. The time away has given her clarity, and she approaches her work with renewed enthusiasm. She dives into her new project, channeling her emotions and experiences into her writing. The creative flow she experiences is a stark contrast to the writer's block she faced before the retreat, and she begins to make significant progress on her manuscript. June's interactions with her publisher and editor take on a new tone as well. She is more confident and open about her process, sharing her ideas and seeking feedback. Daniela is pleased with June's progress and offers constructive criticism that helps refine her work. The collaborative nature of their relationship flourishes, and June feels supported and understood. This positive dynamic boosts her morale and reinforces her commitment to her new project. Despite the progress, June is still haunted by her deception regarding the last front. The fear of being discovered lingers, and she becomes increasingly cautious in her interactions. She avoids discussing her previous work in detail and steers conversations towards her current project. The constant vigilance takes a toll on her, but she remains determined to protect her secret. The internal conflict continues to simmer beneath the surface, adding a layer of tension to her otherwise successful career. June's personal life also undergoes changes as she reconnects with friends and family. The time away has given her a new appreciation for the people in her life, and she makes an effort to rebuild strained relationships. Her mother and sister notice the positive changes in her demeanor and are supportive of her efforts. June finds solace in their encouragement, and their presence provides a sense of stability and grounding. The support of her loved ones helps her navigate the challenges she faces in her professional life. The chapter concludes with June reflecting on the progress she has made and the challenges that still lie ahead. She is proud of the work she has done and the strides she has made in her personal growth. However, the shadow of her deception continues to loom, and she knows that she must eventually confront the truth. The chapter ends with a sense of determination and resolve as June prepares to face whatever comes next with courage and integrity. The stage is set for the next phase of her journey, filled with both promise and uncertainty. Chapter 11. As June continues to work on her new manuscript, she becomes more attuned to the themes and messages she wants to convey. The process is both introspective and cathartic, allowing her to explore her own experiences and emotions. June draws heavily from her time at the retreat and her reflections on her relationship with Athena. The writing becomes a form of self-discovery, helping her to process her guilt and find a path towards redemption. The project takes on a deeply personal significance, and June is determined to make it her best work yet. June's renewed focus and productivity catch the attention of her publisher. The enthusiasm and dedication she displays are a stark contrast to the earlier struggles with writer's block. Daniela and the team at Eden Press are excited about the potential of June's new work and begin to strategize its promotion. The support and encouragement from her publisher bolster June's confidence, and she feels a renewed sense of purpose and belonging in the literary world. Despite the positive developments, June's fear of being exposed remains a constant source of anxiety. She becomes increasingly paranoid about the possibility of someone discovering the truth about the last front. This fear manifests in various ways, from obsessive checking of social media to scrutinizing her interactions with industry professionals. The tension between her public success and private guilt continues to grow, creating a sense of impending crisis. June knows that she cannot keep the truth hidden forever, and the weight of her deception becomes increasingly difficult to bear. June's interactions with the literary community take on a new dimension as she navigates her dual identity. She participates in panels, interviews, and book signings, all while carefully managing her public persona. The constant need to present herself as a legitimate and accomplished author adds to her stress. However, she also finds moments of genuine connection and inspiration in these interactions. The admiration and respect from her peers provide a sense of validation, even as the fear of being discovered lurks in the background. The chapter concludes with June receiving unexpected news that threatens to unravel her carefully constructed facade. An anonymous tip suggests that someone has discovered her secret and is planning to expose her. The revelation sends June into a tailspin, and she is forced to confront the reality of her situation. The chapter ends with a sense of urgency and uncertainty, as June grapples with the potential fallout and prepares to face the consequences of her actions. The stage is set for a dramatic confrontation, with everything she has worked for hanging in the balance. Chapter 12. The threat of exposure looms large over June as she tries to maintain her composure and focus on her work. The anonymous tip has shaken her to the core, and she becomes increasingly paranoid about who might have discovered her secret. Every interaction and social media comment is scrutinized for clues, heightening her anxiety. Despite her fear, June continues to work on her new manuscript, finding solace in the creative process. June decides to take proactive measures to protect herself. She contacts her literary agent, Brett, and expresses concerns about potential negative publicity. Brett reassures her that the publishing house will handle any crises, but his confidence does little to ease June's fears. She also consults with a public relations expert to prepare a strategy in case the truth comes out. The Puerto Rico expert advises her to stay calm and be ready to control the narrative, emphasizing the importance of honesty and transparency. As the days pass, June becomes more isolated, withdrawing from social events and avoiding interactions with her peers. Her relationships with friends and family suffer as she becomes more consumed by her fear. The isolation exacerbates her anxiety, and she struggles to find a balance between protecting herself and maintaining her public image. The constant stress takes a toll on her health, leading to sleepless nights and physical exhaustion. Amidst the turmoil, June receives an invitation to a prestigious literary awards ceremony, where The Last Front is nominated for several awards. The invitation is a bittersweet reminder of her success and the potential downfall that awaits her. She contemplates declining the invitation to avoid the public scrutiny, but ultimately decides to attend. The decision is fueled by a desire to face her fears head-on and take control of her narrative. The ceremony becomes a pivotal moment in her journey, representing both the peak of her success and the edge of her downfall. The chapter ends with June preparing for the awards ceremony, filled with a mix of dread and determination. She knows that the night could bring her the recognition she has longed for, or expose her deception to the world. The uncertainty of what lies ahead creates a palpable tension, as June steels herself for whatever outcome may come. The chapter closes with a sense of impending climax, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation that will determine her fate. Chapter 13. The night of the literary awards ceremony arrives, and June is a bundle of nerves as she prepares to attend. She dons an elegant dress and practices her acceptance speech, but her mind is preoccupied with the fear of being exposed. As she arrives at the venue, she is greeted by a flurry of cameras and reporters. The attention is overwhelming, and she struggles to maintain her composure. The glitz and glamour of the event are a stark contrast to the turmoil she feels inside. Inside the ceremony, June is surrounded by literary luminaries and industry professionals. The atmosphere is charged with excitement and anticipation as the awards are announced. Despite her anxiety, June finds moments of genuine connection with other authors, who offer words of encouragement and praise for her work. These interactions provide a brief respite from her fear, allowing her to appreciate the recognition she has received. However, the underlying tension remains ever present. As the night progresses, the announcement of the awards for which the last front is nominated draws closer. June's heart races as she waits for her category to be called. When her name is announced as the winner, she is flooded with a mix of emotions: elation, relief, and dread. She ascends the stage to accept her award, delivering her carefully rehearsed speech. The audience's applause is thunderous, but June can't shake the feeling that her success is built on a lie. After the ceremony, June attends the after-party, where she is surrounded by well-wishers and admirers. The celebration is in full swing, but June is on edge, constantly scanning the room for any sign of the person who threatened to expose her. Despite the accolades and congratulations, she feels a growing sense of unease. The weight of her deception becomes increasingly unbearable, and she finds it difficult to enjoy the moment. The night, which should be a pinnacle of her career, is marred by the constant fear of discovery. The chapter ends with June returning home, exhausted and emotionally drained. She reflects on the events of the night and the precariousness of her situation. Despite the accolades and recognition, she knows that her success is fragile and could crumble at any moment. The fear of exposure continues to haunt her, and she is left to grapple with the consequences of her actions. The chapter closes with a sense of unresolved tension, as June faces the reality that her secret may soon come to light. Chapter 14. In the days following the award ceremony, June's anxiety reaches new heights. The fear of exposure becomes an all-consuming obsession, affecting every aspect of her life. She is unable to focus on her writing and finds herself constantly checking her phone and social media for any signs of the impending revelation. The accolades from the awards ceremony feel hollow, overshadowed by the dread of losing everything she has worked for. June's paranoia begins to strain her relationship with her literary agent, Brett. She becomes increasingly suspicious of his actions, questioning whether he knows more than he is letting on. Brett, unaware of June's deception, is confused by her erratic behavior and tries to reassure her that everything is fine. However, June's inability to trust anyone deepens her isolation. She becomes more reclusive, avoiding contact with friends and family as she spirals further into her fears. The tension comes to a head when June receives an email from an anonymous source demanding a meeting to discuss the last front. The email hints at knowledge of her deception and threatens to go public unless she agrees to the meeting. Panic-stricken, June contemplates her options. She considers ignoring the email, but the threat is too real to dismiss. The fear of exposure forces her hand, and she reluctantly agrees to the meeting, unsure of what to expect. The meeting takes place in a secluded cafe, where June is confronted by a former classmate from Yale who reveals they have discovered the truth about Athena's manuscript. The classmate, a writer themselves, had always been envious of Athena's success and recognized the distinct style of her writing. In the last front, they demand a share of the profits and recognition in exchange for their silence. The confrontation leaves June feeling trapped and desperate as she realizes the precariousness of her situation. The chapter ends with June returning home, her mind racing with the implications of the encounter. She is faced with a difficult decision: comply with the demands of her former classmate or risk public exposure and the ruin of her career. The weight of her deception becomes unbearable, and she grapples with the moral and ethical consequences of her actions. The chapter closes with a sense of impending crisis, as June prepares to make a decision that will determine the course of her future. Chapter 15. June's confrontation with her former classmate leaves her reeling. The demand for a share of the profits in recognition threatens to unravel everything she has worked for. Desperate and conflicted, she seeks advice from her public relations expert, who advises her to carefully weigh her options. The Puerto Rico expert suggests negotiating with the classmate to reach a compromise that minimizes the damage. June is torn between protecting her secret and maintaining her integrity. Feeling cornered, June reluctantly agrees to meet with her classmate again to discuss terms. The negotiation is tense, with both parties acutely aware of the stakes. June's classmate is adamant about receiving a substantial share of the profits and public acknowledgement of their role in the manuscript's creation. June, desperate to avoid public scandal, agrees to the financial demands but negotiates to keep the acknowledgement private. The compromise leaves her feeling uneasy, but she hopes it will buy her some time to figure out a more permanent solution. As the weeks pass, June tries to focus on her writing and move forward with her life. However, the constant fear of exposure and the burden of her agreement with her classmate weigh heavily on her. She becomes increasingly isolated, withdrawing from social interactions and avoiding public appearances. The stress takes a toll on her health, leading to sleepless nights and bouts of anxiety. Despite the success of The Last Front, June feels trapped by her own deception. June's relationship with Daniela and the team at Eden Press begins to suffer as well. Daniela notices the change in June's behavior and expresses concern about her well-being. June, unable to confide in anyone, brushes off the concerns and tries to maintain a facade of normalcy. The strain of keeping up appearances becomes increasingly difficult, and June feels the walls closing in around her. The support and encouragement from her publisher feel hollow, knowing that her success is built on a lie. The chapter ends with June receiving a letter from Athena's mother, who has discovered the truth about the manuscript. The letter is filled with sorrow and disappointment, expressing the betrayal felt by Athena's family. The revelation leaves June devastated, as she realizes the full extent of the impact her actions have had. The chapter closes with June standing at a crossroads, faced with the choice of coming clean and risking everything or continuing to live with the burden of her deception. The sense of impending reckoning looms large, setting the stage for a dramatic resolution. Chapter 16. The letter from Athena's mother leaves June in a state of shock and deep remorse. The betrayal felt by Athena's family weighs heavily on her conscience, and she is consumed by guilt. She spends days rereading the letter, unable to escape the sense of responsibility for the pain she has caused. The emotional toll is immense, and June finds it difficult to focus on anything else. The walls of her deception are closing in, and she realizes that she can no longer hide from the truth. In a moment of clarity, June decides to come clean about the true origins of The Last Front. She contacts her literary agent, Brett, and arranges a meeting to disclose the full extent of her deception. The conversation is one of the most difficult she has ever had, as she explains how she came into possession of Athena's manuscript and her reasons for claiming it as her own. Brett is shocked and disappointed, but he appreciates June's honesty and agrees to help her navigate the fallout. Together, June and Brett devise a plan to publicly acknowledge Athena's authorship and make amends. They draft a statement to release to the press, explaining the situation and apologizing to Athena's family and readers. The process is painful and humbling for June, but she is determined to take responsibility for her actions. The announcement is met with a mix of reactions from the public, ranging from outrage to sympathy. June braces herself for the consequences, knowing that her career may never recover. As the news spreads, June receives an outpouring of support and condemnation from the literary community. Many are disappointed and angry, feeling betrayed by her deception. Others express understanding and forgiveness, recognizing the complexity of her situation. June's publisher, Daniela, is particularly supportive, acknowledging the courage it took for June to come forward. Despite the negative reactions, June feels a sense of relief and liberation, having finally unburdened herself of the truth. The chapter concludes with June beginning the process of making amends. She reaches out to Athena's family, seeking their forgiveness, and offering to donate a portion of the profits from The Last Front to a cause that honors Athena's legacy. The path to redemption is long and uncertain, but June is committed to making things right. The chapter ends with a sense of closure and the possibility of a new beginning, as June faces the consequences of her actions with newfound courage and integrity. Chapter 17. With the public revelation of her deception, June faces the consequences head-on. The literary community is abuzz with the news, and June becomes a focal point of both media scrutiny and public opinion. She is invited to numerous interviews and talk shows to explain her actions, and she decides to accept some of these invitations to share her side of the story. The process is daunting, but June is determined to be honest and transparent about her journey, hoping to gain some measure of understanding and forgiveness from the public. During these interviews, June openly discusses the pressure she felt as a struggling writer, her admiration and envy of Athena, and the complex emotions that led her to take the manuscript. She emphasizes the importance of Athena's work and her desire to see it published, even if her actions were misguided. The media response is mixed, with some appreciating her honesty and others criticizing her for the initial deception. Despite the backlash, June finds solace in having taken responsibility for her actions. June's relationship with her family undergoes significant changes as well. Her mother and sister, initially shocked and disappointed, begin to understand the depth of June's struggles. They offer their support, helping her navigate the emotional and professional fallout. The process of reconciling with her family brings June a sense of peace and grounding. She realizes that their acceptance and love are crucial in her journey towards redemption. Professionally, June's career takes a hit as publishers and readers reassess their perception of her work. The last front is reissued with Athena's name prominently displayed as the author, and June's role in completing the manuscript is acknowledged in the introduction. The book continues to receive critical acclaim, now recognized as a significant contribution to literature by Athena Liu. June feels a mix of pride and regret, knowing that while the book's success is deserved, it came at a great personal cost. The chapter ends with June beginning to work on her new manuscript with a fresh perspective. She is determined to create something entirely her own, drawing from her experiences and the lessons she has learned. The writing process is both therapeutic and challenging as she strives to find her authentic voice. June's journey towards redemption is far from over, but she feels a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The chapter closes with a sense of hope and possibility, as June embarks on this new chapter of her life with honesty and integrity. Chapter 18. June's decision to come clean about the manuscript brings her some measure of peace, but the journey to redemption is fraught with challenges. She receives numerous messages from readers, some expressing support and others condemning her actions. The mixed reactions weigh heavily on her, but she remains committed to rebuilding her reputation and earning back the trust of the literary community. She continues to engage with her audience, addressing their concerns and answering questions about her experiences. As part of her efforts to make amends, June becomes involved in various literary and cultural initiatives that promote diversity and inclusion. She collaborates with organizations dedicated to supporting marginalized voices in literature, using her platform to raise awareness and advocate for change. This involvement helps her connect with other writers and activists who share her passion for storytelling and social justice. The experience is both humbling and empowering, as June finds new ways to contribute positively to the literary world. June's work on her new manuscript progresses steadily, albeit with occasional setbacks. The process of finding her own voice and style is challenging, especially as she grapples with lingering self-doubt and the fear of failure. However, the support from her editor, Daniela, and her renewed sense of purpose drive her forward. Daniela's feedback and encouragement are invaluable, helping June refine her work and stay focused on her goals. The collaboration strengthens their professional relationship and provides June with the confidence she needs to succeed. Throughout this period, June also works on repairing her personal relationships. She reconnects with old friends and makes an effort to be more present and open with her family. The process of rebuilding trust is slow but rewarding as she learns to navigate her emotions and communicate more effectively. June's willingness to confront her past mistakes and take responsibility for her actions helps her gain a deeper understanding of herself and her relationships. The chapter ends with June attending a literary event where she is invited to speak about her experiences and the lessons she has learned. The event is an opportunity for her to share her journey towards redemption and inspire others with her story. June feels a mix of nerves and excitement as she takes the stage, but her speech is well received, and she is approached by numerous attendees who express their admiration and support. The chapter closes with a sense of accomplishment and hope, as June continues to build a new path for herself in the literary world. Chapter 19. As June continues to work on her new manuscript, She finds herself increasingly immersed in the world of literary activism. Her involvement in promoting diversity and inclusion within the industry brings her a sense of fulfillment and purpose. She becomes a regular speaker at events and workshops, sharing her experiences and advocating for underrepresented voices. This new role helps her rebuild her reputation and earn the respect of her peers, although the shadow of her past actions still lingers. June's new manuscript begins to take shape, and she feels a growing sense of pride in her work. The process of writing is both challenging and therapeutic, allowing her to channel her emotions and experiences into her storytelling. She is determined to create a piece that reflects her authentic voice and vision, free from the pressures and expectations that once plagued her. The support from her editor, Daniela, and her renewed sense of purpose drive her forward, and she begins to see the potential for her new book to make a significant impact. During this time, June's relationship with Athena's family undergoes a transformation. She reaches out to them regularly, offering updates on her efforts to honor Athena's legacy and contribute to causes that were important to her. The process of rebuilding trust is slow and painful, but June is committed to making amends. Athena's family gradually comes to appreciate her sincerity and efforts, and a tentative reconciliation begins to take shape. The healing process is far from complete, but there is a sense of progress and mutual understanding. June also works on mending her personal relationships, particularly with her family. She makes a conscious effort to be more present and supportive, addressing the strain her actions had caused. Her mother and sister, seeing the changes in June, offer their forgiveness and support. The process of rebuilding these relationships is both rewarding and challenging, as June learns to navigate her emotions and communicate more effectively. The support from her family becomes a crucial source of strength as she moves forward with her life. The chapter concludes with June preparing for the release of her new manuscript. The anticipation and anxiety are palpable, but she feels a sense of confidence and pride in her work. She knows that this book represents a new beginning and a chance to prove herself as a legitimate and talented author. The journey towards redemption has been difficult, but June is determined to face the future with honesty and integrity. The chapter ends with a sense of hope and possibility, as June looks forward to the next chapter of her life. Chapter 20. Naji. The release of June's new manuscript marks a pivotal moment in her career and personal journey. The anticipation and anxiety leading up to the publication are intense, but June feels a renewed sense of confidence and purpose. The book, a deeply personal and authentic reflection of her experiences, receives positive early reviews. Critics praise her storytelling and the emotional depth of her writing, highlighting the growth and maturity she has achieved. The validation and recognition are a testament to her hard work and perseverance. June's public appearances and interviews take on a new tone as she promotes her latest work. She speaks openly about her journey, the lessons she has learned, and the importance of authenticity in storytelling. Her honesty and vulnerability resonate with audiences, and she receives an outpouring of support from readers and fellow writers. The positive reception of her new book helps to rebuild her reputation and establish her as a respected voice in the literary community. As June navigates the success of her new book, she continues to be involved in literary activism and initiatives that promote diversity and inclusion. She collaborates with other writers and organizations to create opportunities for underrepresented voices, using her platform to advocate for change. The work is fulfilling and provides a sense of purpose beyond her own career. June's efforts are recognized and appreciated by her peers, further solidifying her role as a positive force in the literary world. Despite the positive developments, June remains mindful of the impact of her past actions. She continues to work on repairing her relationships with Athena's family and the literary community. The process is ongoing, but there are signs of progress and reconciliation. June's commitment to making amends and honoring Athena's legacy is evident in her actions and the causes she supports. The journey towards redemption is far from over, but June is dedicated to seeing it through. The chapter ends with June reflecting on her journey and the transformation she has undergone. The release of her new manuscript is a significant milestone, but it is only one part of her story. June is determined to continue growing as a writer and as a person, embracing the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The sense of hope and possibility is palpable as June looks forward to the future with a renewed sense of purpose and integrity. The chapter closes with a sense of resolution and anticipation as June embarks on the next phase of her journey. Chapter 21. June's new book garners widespread acclaim, solidifying her place in the literary world as a talented and authentic author. The positive reception helps her regain some of the trust she lost due to her previous deception. Her success is celebrated by both critics and readers, and she is invited to participate in various literary festivals and events. The recognition brings a sense of validation and pride, but June remains grounded, mindful of the journey that brought her here. June's involvement in literary activism continues to grow. She becomes a mentor to aspiring writers, particularly those from marginalized backgrounds. Through workshops and seminars, she shares her experiences and offers guidance, helping others navigate the complexities of the publishing industry. This role brings her immense satisfaction and reinforces her commitment to promoting diversity and inclusion in literature. June's efforts are widely recognized and appreciated, further enhancing her reputation as a positive force in the literary community. Despite her professional success, June continues to work on repairing her personal relationships. Her renewed focus on family and friends leads to deeper connections and a sense of fulfillment. June's mother and sister become her biggest supporters, attending her book events and celebrating her achievements. The process of reconciliation is ongoing, but the bonds they share grow stronger with each passing day. The support from her loved ones provides a crucial foundation as she navigates her career and personal life. June's relationship with Athena's family also shows signs of healing. She remains in regular contact with them, offering updates on her initiatives to honor Athena's legacy. The initial tension and resentment gradually give way to understanding and mutual respect. Athena's family begins to see June's sincerity and the positive impact she is making in the literary world. The journey towards forgiveness is long and challenging, but there is a sense of progress and hope for the future. The chapter concludes with June reflecting on the transformations in her life. She has come a long way from the person who took Athena's manuscript, and she is determined to continue growing and evolving. The success of her new book and her contributions to literary activism have given her a renewed sense of purpose. June is ready to embrace the future with integrity and authenticity, committed to making a positive impact in the world. The chapter closes with a sense of resolution and optimism as June looks forward to the next chapter of her journey. Chapter 22. As June's career flourishes, she is invited to speak at an international literary conference, a prestigious event that gathers writers and intellectuals from around the world. The invitation is a testament to her growing influence and reputation in the literary community. June is both excited and nervous about the opportunity, recognizing it as a chance to further share her story and advocate for diversity and inclusion in literature. The preparation for her speech becomes a focal point, and she is determined to make a meaningful impact. The conference proves to be a transformative experience for June. She meets a diverse group of writers, each with unique perspectives and stories to tell. The interactions are enriching and inspiring, providing new insights and ideas for her own work. June's speech is well received, resonating with the audience and sparking important conversations about representation and authenticity in literature. The positive feedback reinforces her commitment to her advocacy work and the importance of her voice in the literary world. June's time at the conference also leads to new opportunities for collaboration. She connects with other writers and organizations, discussing potential projects and initiatives to support marginalized voices. These collaborations open new doors and expand her network, allowing her to make a broader impact. The experience is invigorating, and June returns home with a renewed sense of purpose and excitement for the future. The connections she makes at the conference become valuable allies in her ongoing efforts to promote diversity and inclusion. Amidst the professional successes, June continues to focus on her personal growth and relationships. She remains dedicated to her family, making time for meaningful interactions and shared experiences. The support from her mother and sister remains a cornerstone of her strength, providing stability and encouragement. June also continues her efforts to rebuild trust with Athena's family, recognizing the importance of their forgiveness and understanding in her journey towards redemption. The chapter ends with June starting to work on a new book inspired by the experiences and connections she made at the conference. The writing process is both challenging and fulfilling as she channels her newfound insights and passion into her work. The sense of purpose and creativity is stronger than ever, and June feels confident in her ability to create something meaningful. The chapter closes with a sense of anticipation and excitement, as June looks forward to the possibilities that lie ahead and the impact she can make through her writing. Chapter 23. June's new book project gains momentum as she delves deeper into her writing. The themes of diversity, representation, and authenticity are central to her work, reflecting her personal journey and advocacy. The creative process is both exhilarating and demanding, pushing June to explore new narrative techniques and perspectives. The support from her editor, Daniela, and the positive feedback from her literary community motivate her to strive for excellence. June is determined to create a book that will resonate with readers and contribute to important conversations in literature. As June works on her manuscript, she receives an unexpected visit from Athena's mother. The visit is emotionally charged, filled with both tension and the potential for reconciliation. Athena's mother expresses her sorrow and disappointment, but also acknowledges the efforts June has made to honor Athena's legacy. The conversation is a turning point, providing June with a sense of closure and the possibility of forgiveness. The encounter is deeply moving, and June is grateful for the opportunity to make amends. Inspired by the visit, June decides to dedicate her new book to Athena. The dedication is a heartfelt gesture, acknowledging the impact Athena had on her life and career. The decision is met with mixed emotions as it brings back memories of the past, but also signifies June's commitment to moving forward with integrity. The dedication becomes a source of motivation, driving June to pour her heart and soul into her writing. She is determined to create a work that honors Athena's memory and contributes to the literary world. June's involvement in literary activism continues to grow. She is invited to join the board of a prominent literary organization dedicated to supporting marginalized writers. The role allows her to influence policy and advocate for systemic change within the industry. June embraces the opportunity, using her platform to amplify the voices of underrepresented writers and promote diversity in publishing. The work is fulfilling and aligns with her personal values, reinforcing her commitment to making a positive impact. The chapter concludes with June preparing for the launch of her new book. The anticipation and excitement are palpable as she looks forward to sharing her work with the world. The book represents a new beginning and a testament to her growth and resilience. June is ready to face the future with confidence and integrity, embracing the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. The chapter closes with a sense of fulfillment and hope as June reflects on her journey and the possibilities that await her. Chapter 24. The launch of June's new book is a significant event, drawing attention from both the literary community and the public. The anticipation surrounding the release is high, and June is both excited and nervous about the reception. The book, dedicated to Athena, represents a culmination of her journey and a testament to her growth as a writer and individual. The launch event is a celebration of her achievements, attended by friends, family, and supporters who have been part of her journey. The book launch is a resounding success, with positive reviews and enthusiastic responses from readers. Critics praise the depth and authenticity of her storytelling, highlighting the powerful themes of diversity and representation. The dedication to Athena is particularly noted, adding a poignant layer to the book's reception. June feels a deep sense of pride and validation, knowing that her hard work and dedication have paid off. The support from the literary community reinforces her belief in the importance of her work. In the weeks following the launch, June is invited to participate in various literary events and interviews. She speaks openly about her journey, the lessons she has learned, and the importance of authenticity in storytelling. Her honesty and vulnerability resonate with audiences, and she receives an outpouring of support from readers and fellow writers. The positive reception helps to further rebuild her reputation and establish her as a respected voice in the literary world. June's involvement in literary activism continues to expand. She collaborates with other writers and organizations on projects aimed at promoting diversity and inclusion. These initiatives include writing workshops, mentorship programs, and advocacy campaigns. June's efforts are recognized and appreciated, and she is seen as a leader in the movement for change within the publishing industry. The work is fulfilling and aligns with her personal values, reinforcing her commitment to making a positive impact. The chapter ends with June reflecting on her journey and the transformations she has undergone. The success of her new book and her contributions to literary activism have given her a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment. She is grateful for the support and opportunities she has received and is determined to continue growing and evolving as a writer and advocate. The chapter closes with a sense of resolution and optimism as June looks forward to the future with confidence and hope.